Thank you very much, Sister Mondi, political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party and Member of Parliament for the constituency of Castries East, former Deputy Prime Minister and the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Chairman of our esteemed party, Member of Parliament for Vieux-Fort North, former Minister for Agriculture, the Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, colleague parliamentarian, former Minister responsible for External Affairs, International Trade and Civil Aviation, Member of Parliament for the constituency of Labrie, the Honorable Alva Baptiste, endorsed candidate for the constituency of Grosile. And tonight, permit me to say, Bebe for Grosile. I almost said the Honorable Kenson Casimir, but I guess I will have to wait a few more months before I can say the Honorable Kenson Casimir. But trust me, it is coming. Kenson Casimir is the next parliamentary representative for the constituency of Grosile. Executive members of the Labour Party, supporters, well-wishers at home and in the diaspora. And tonight, permit me to say a special good evening to our brothers and sisters in Martinique, Ambrose, Bok, Diana, Sharon and husband, Laza, Shuku, and so many other brothers and sisters who are out there trying to earn an honest living for themselves and their families, but they can still find the time to champion the cause of the Labour Party and by extension, giving quality representation unofficially to the country that they love, St. Lucia. My brothers and sisters, as we speak, and that has been the case for 4.5 years, we are being governed by the worst government in the history of this country. A government that has presided over billions of dollars of state resources, wasted the first year, and you must understand that they came into government on a very solid mandate. The people of St. Lucia entrusted them with the responsibility to move this country forward. And from very early during the reign of this administration, we knew that they would have failed. And this is not what we wanted for St. Lucia. Notwithstanding all the politicking, we in the Labour Party will always support policies and initiatives that are geared towards the betterment of our country. But the signs were there from early on the horizon that this group, the largest cabinet in the history of St. Lucia, we've never had a composition like this before, where you have so many ministers, junior and senior, enjoying that wage bill. Hundreds of thousands of dollars being used to pay ministers. And after 4.5 years, almost 5 years, having presided over billions of dollars, they have absolutely nothing to show. And elections are on the horizon. Two sweet kind of election. And they cannot come to the people of St. Lucia with a report card to say that this is what we have done in 4.5 years. And so they're looking for all kinds of tricks to try and win an election, to try and convince the people of St. Lucia that they deserve another term. But you know what? The people of St. Lucia are more discerning today than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. And this government cannot bluff the people. You have wasted the time that you were given to preside over the affairs of this country. You have presided over billions of dollars, and you have absolutely nothing to show in no sector of national development. And Brother Musa did an excellent job exposing the inadequacies, the inefficiencies, and the inept posture of this government in the realm of agriculture and fisheries as a sector. And I must reiterate some of what he said, not because tonight I am charged with the responsibility to speak about agriculture. It would be remiss of me to be a parliamentarian, a two-term parliamentarian, representing the banana farmers of Denrinoff, and not add my voice to what the good comrade from Vivotnov has said tonight. I remember on the eve of elections 2016, the United Workers' Party, the Prime Minister in particular, and the now Agriculture Minister, Honorable Ezekiel Joseph, before the elections of 2016, they told the banana farmers of St. Lucia, many of whom had already turned their backs on the industry, that they were going to find markets in the French territory. Et qu'ils ont encouragé farmers pour vier ay planter fig, because yo dit ces farmers, l'on planter fig ça là, nous kay market en France. Et qui moun sou vini kou di yo kay bay un market qui bay quoi ou. Et farmer qui a quitté fig. Farmer qui a monté ay matnik, ay fait 15 jours travail avec vieux. Yo quitté ça, yo mettez ça sous côté. And they returned to the banana fields to cultivate bananas because they were promised a market in France. I know what was most painful about this exercise? When the farmers cultivated and there was increased production as a result of the pronouncements of the UWP, the farmers could not get to harvest those bananas for export to France. And there were instances when they had to cut the fruit down and allow it to rot on the ground. And when they could not take it anymore, some of them had to feed those bananas to the pigs of the Mabuya Valley. And that is how the farmers have been violated. All governments, every minister of government, irrespective of the party you belong to, will make pronouncements. You will embark on policy initiatives that may not necessarily work. But you have a responsibility to people to level with them, to come and say to them, yes, we tried something, but it did not work. And so we probably should look at a different approach. Instead of this United Workers' Party government coming to the farmers, you know what happened? During the debate on the appropriation bill a few months ago, the Prime Minister, in his budget address, he reiterated the point. He said to the farmers again that his government is exploring market in France for them, as if it wasn't bad enough the first time. He can stand and muster the courage et ka gade farmers ici en zie et di yo gouvernement ni plan pour voir figure France encore. I see the farmers daily. They come to my office and they feel violated. But Brother Musa told you tonight that a St. Lucia Labour Party government will work in the best interest of the farmers of this country. A St. Lucia Labour Party government will work in the best interest of the fishers of this country. A St. Lucia Labour Party government will put people first. And for too long now, 4.5 years, the people of St. Lucia have been bystanders in the national development process. There are so many business people in St. Lucia who have chosen to make a contribution to the development of this country in the realm of business. And when there's a global crisis, they too, they feel the pinch, but they can never get the support of government. And several of them have had to fold their businesses and just retreat on the sidelines. And whilst that is happening to local business people, somebody can come here under the guise of being an investor and can get $30 million of our pension money to go about doing what they call a business development. My brothers and sisters, $30 million from the NIC could have been used to do so much for the people of this country. It could have given support to the farmers. It could have given support to ensure that we were continuing with the fish marketing cooperation. And when a fisher comes from the high seas and he lands his catch at 7 o'clock in the night, instead of taking his catch to a facility where it can be stored and where he can get good value for his day on the high seas, he has to put that in the back of a van and crisscross the country at all odd hours. Sometimes I'm in my bed and I can hear the conch. And fish that ordinarily will go for $10 and $12 a pound, at midnight, 1 in the morning, frustrated fishers are asking you to take it for $4 a pound. How can that be right in this country? How can that be right in this country today? But we are being presided over by a government that does not care. Worst government in the history of this country. They have a revenue stream. And St. Lucia has had a few prime ministers. Sir John, Kenny Anthony, Stephenson King, Vaughan Lewis, Alan Louisi, Mikey Pilgrim, just name it. They never had the revenue stream that we call CIP, passport money today. This is a revenue stream. Ça c'est l'argent neuf. Gouvernement ça a tout seul joindre pour servir pour faire bail pays cette ici. And when you go to places like St. Kitts and you go to Dominica, there you have evidence of CIP money at work. Dominica has embarked on what they call a housing revolution. Their passport monies are being used to build or construct homes for civil servants and people who ordinarily would struggle and struggle and struggle before they can put a roof over their heads. But today, as a result of CIP money in Dominica, the average Dominican can afford a home to enjoy with his family or with her family as St. Lucians continue to struggle to have homes of their own. You go to Dominica, CIP money at work, because there is another revolution where they are upgrading and enhancing public health facilities in that country. But a government like the United Workers' Party, a government of misguided priorities, a government that will sit here presiding over the business of our country and allow $112 million to be spent, not to fix roads, not to better the school plans in this country, not to provide better health care for our people, not to give relief to fishers, but $112 million so that we can construct a facility so that horses can come and gallop at a time when our people cannot make ends meet. That is the government that presides over the affairs of this country. And so, as I said earlier on, elections are on the horizon. Tout suite qu'il y a une élection. L'année de community consommée d'Henry-Neuf, Gouin-Rivière, Dernier-Rivière, Gadette, Guavin. Gouvernement flambeau, poko pété, yon sac ciment, en 4 années et demi. Not a bag of cement has been used to undertake any project in this constituency. You know why? Because they believe that they are punishing me. They believe that this can hurt me politically. But the people of Denry-North, like the rest of St. Lucia, they're not as gullible as you think. They know what to do, and they are patiently waiting, like thousands of St. Lucians, for the election, so that they can express their frustrations in those ballot boxes across the length and breadth of this country. St. Lucia needs a St. Lucia Labour Party government today more than ever before. A government that will put people first. A government that respects the patrimony of this country. A government where St. Lucians will matter in their own country. And I told you before, what do they have to show? Where is the slate of this government after 4.5 years? You can find $112 million to facilitate the development of a horse racing facility, but you will not reinstate the distress fund for $400,000. And the distress fund, and you've heard several of us in the Labour Party speak to the distress fund in the Parliament. Ça c'est un petit amount, about $400 000. Gouvernement n'y a sous côté, because tous les années, en toute commune cette ici, ou ka jwen news that a kaya moun anti kaya plywood brûlé, a moun ni anti toaka et yo passe away de koyo. And in every society, you will have people who will depend on government to make ends meet. They will be more reliant on government to go about their business than others are able to. And they remove the distress fund. And when you listen to the news, fire gutted a house in Cicero. A house was burnt to the ground in Vieux-Fort. And oftentimes, these people do not have insurance. They don't have the means to pick themselves up. And that is where you bring compassion into government and governance. And the St. Lucia Labour Party was always willing and ready to take them by the hand, give them some assistance to put a roof on their heads again. But instead, this administration has come in. And instead of recognizing that there are some people in our society who will have to look after more than others, they chose to refer to them as mendicants. We have no mendicants in St. Lucia. It's just that some people's circumstances are different from ours. But every St. Lucian has a right to enjoy this country for what it is. And this is what we mean when we say that the St. Lucia Labour Party will always put the people of St. Lucia first. And when things are hard, we are not saying that the St. Lucia Labour Party government will promise milk and honey at every street corner. When things are hard, we are going to behave like things are hard. But we can't tell you to resort to belt-tightening measures and the government is on a spending spree, spending on things that are not necessary today. And all the traits of bad governance that are being exhibited now, they were being exhibited before COVID. And when we warned them, every single time they came to the parliament, they were coming to borrow huge sums of money. And then you do your checks and balances, and you drive throughout the length and breadth of this country, you can't seem to see what they do with what they're doing with the money. And so, the few little projects that we started, that they attempted to stop some of them, they are busy cutting ribbons. They are busy trying to claim projects that they never initiated. And the political leader of our party always says to us that 4 years is not 40 years. And they believe they would have had time. So they went ahead, wasted the first year, wasted the second year, and nobody was spared when they decided that they were going on the offensive to destroy people's reputations and character. The church got its fair share of licks from them. Some of us were at the receiving end. Civil society organizations that felt that they had an obligation to stand up for St. Lucia, they too were put to the sword. But 4 years is not 40 years. And I can extend on that and say that 5 years would never be 50 years. And so, my brothers and sisters, they can spin as they want. They can bluff as they want. And in the words of the member for Castries East, they can come with all their flashing mirrors. The finish line is near. They have to take the people of St. Lucia to the polls. And that is where the people, as I said earlier on, will express their frustrations with this government. In Dennery North, a few weeks ago, the government decided that they were going to have a lavish ceremony to open the Dennery North, or to signal the completion of the Dennery North Water Redevelopment Project. Sans honte, you did not commission project. When Brother Alva Baptiste went to his OAS meeting in Guatemala, and he begged, he negotiated, he pleaded with foreign countries to give assistance so that the people of Dennery North can have a reliable supply of water. They were not in government. And the good brother came back with $5 million for phase 1 of the Dennery North Water Redevelopment Project. And upon realizing that $5 million would not have been sufficient, we put a loan application before the CDB. And before elections, when some of them were not even confirmed as candidates as yet, we got word from the CDB that our loan application had been favorably considered. Nous avons joint la en CDB pour faire phase 2. Ek so project la ali, ek nom ki ba konnen rien about project, pour yo faire coup sec moi ek ciseau pour venir couper riban. But I've said to them, les nous gagne avec notre gouvernement, moi ka faire ono pour une cérémonie, comment ka couper riban moi, ek moun ka savent. What have they done? What do they have to show? The Constituency Development Program, what we know as CDP, is a program in the office of the Prime Minister. Well, that is where the program was executed when we were in government. These days, I heard it is being executed in the Ministry of Guy Joseph, Economic Development, where every year, on average, the government budgets $18 million so that parliamentarians can oversee small projects in their constituencies. They gave not a cent to the 6 of us in opposition for our constituencies. The second year, nothing for us. The third year, not a single project. The fourth year, nada. We are in the fifth year. Fifth year. We won our seats. We have a right to be in the parliament just as the members of the United Workers' Party won their seats. And you know what has happened? Not a single project has been presided over in any of the opposition constituencies by a member of the St. Lucia Labour Party who was duly elected on election day. But my brothers and sisters, we have stayed together as a party. We are a united force. And as the elections get closer, there will be rumors. There are those who will try to make you believe that we are not united and we're not together. The Labour Party is as strong today as it has always been. We are ready to govern this country again. And central to our theme of development, irrespective of the area of national development that we are going to touch, is the fact that the people of St. Lucia will be at the forefront of everything we do. It has to be a symbiotic relationship. Nous n'y pour travailler et puis moun. Gouvernement qui travaille et puis peuple là pour faire pays ça primaire. And in all countries of the world, big or small, they have been tried and they have been tested. And I have said before elsewhere that the countries that have a tendency to stay afloat in periods of crisis are those with the best leaders. And that is what we bring to the fore. We are giving you a leader who has been tried and tested. We are giving you a leader whose accomplishments in all of the agencies of government that he has presided over is impeccable. We are giving you a leader who's compassionate. And we are giving you a leader whom you can trust. But we understand that even the leader alone will not be able to bring about the transformation and the change that this country needs. It will call for all hands to be on deck. It will call for all patriotic St. Lucians to play their part. But first and foremost must be a deliberate effort to ensure that St. Lucians are active players in the national development process. And our brothers and sisters from elsewhere in the Caribbean who have come to this country and have made their contribution to its development, there will be a place for them too. We're not chasing anybody out of St. Lucia, particularly those who have made their contribution to the development of our country. And you'd have heard recently how one of St. Lucia's most celebrated adopted sons, who has made a sterling contribution in the realm of education and as a conservationist as well, was attacked. He was attacked because he took a principled position that was guided and informed by his professional knowledge, skills, and experience. They took a cheap shot at him. But that is the character and the DNA of the UWP. They cannot beat us in the polls. They cannot beat us in terms of performance. They cannot beat us in the parliament. So they resort to nasty approaches and tactics to get us to tremble as far as they're concerned. But as I said, the Labour Party has never, ever been stronger than it is today. And whether the elections are called in October or November, as we are predicting, rest assured, the people of St. Lucia will return the St. Lucia Labour Party under the leadership of Philip J. Pierre to the reins of government, and St. Lucia will be a better place for it. Dennery North is ready. I know the Vieux-Fort seats are ready. Dennery South is ready. Babono is ready. Soufrière is ready. Anstare Canaries is ready. Castries East is ready. Labrie has always been ready. And as Brother Musa said earlier, I can't wait for the day when I'll be stepping into the chamber, that parliamentary chamber in Castries, and watch Kenson either ahead of me or coming behind in his capacity as parliamentary representative for Grosili. What a great day it's going to be for the Labour Party. My brothers and sisters, we have to stay the course. We have to continue supporting our party. We have to continue believing in the ideals of our party. And once we keep our focus, yes, they will try to distract us. Once we keep our focus, victory will be ours. The St. Lucia Labour Party will be given a chance again to govern this country and return St. Lucia to where it rightfully belongs. And that is on a growth path and on the road to prosperity. Long live the St. Lucia Labour Party. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Have a good night.